KURINJI Senior Secondary School, CBSE, Namakkal.
Successful result producing school in state every year.
Administered by the Board of Directors with over 35 years of experience in the teaching field.
Special attention on art, craft, music, dance, silambam, yoga, skating and karate.
Focus on Hindi Sabha and Spell Bee Olympiad exams.
Smart class for effective and innovative learning and well-furnished library.
Solitary importance on sports and games in state and national level.
WhatsApp facilities to know activities of students and school inside the campus.
NEET, JEE, IIT coaching experts from Rajasthan and Andhra Pradesh along with our effective teachers.
Admission registration for classes LKG to +2.
KURINJI Educational Institution, Kavetipatti, Namakkal. Admission in progress. CBSE, KG to 12, contact 9025895176. Metric 6 to 12, contact 9344567484. For online admission, log on to www.kurinjischoolnkl.in.
Good morning student. Here today video I would like to conveying a small topic regarding muscle. Okay. Then already in the previous video we are already learned about muscle contraction. Okay, because of this is a chapter related to the movement and locomotion. Nothing but locomotion and movement. In this chapter, muscle and skeletal system want to learn. Especially now we are discussed about muscle. The skeletal muscle, how it is playing important role in the movement and locomotion of the organisms, advanced organisms. Okay, previously what are the different type of locomotions are exhibited by the organism, ciliary and then flagellated, amoeboid, that we see. Especially we are discussing about our body functions. So our body locomotion and movement, majority activities are done by the skeletal muscles. So that one, what is expression to the outside, what is the content here means, smooth muscles also play an important role by the movement, but it is internal, we can't see. But what is exhibited by the body postures, that and all by the skeletal muscles. So muscle contraction we learned, and after that when we are did the something work with the skeletal muscle, our muscle will be getting something pain. Correct only na? Okay. So what is the reason about that pain? And then if you are seen our internal anatomy of the muscles, that muscles in our body, two type of muscles are there basing on the color, red color and white color. So types of muscles and why our muscle is getting a little bit pain when they are over contraction time. These topics we want to cover in this video. Let me start today video session. Muscle fatigue. What is the meaning of the fatigue? A fatigue is muscle cramp, muscle getting pain. And what is the reason about that fatigue, muscle cramp and then muscle pain? Okay. So before telling about the muscle fatigue, by oral is something I will be explained. When you did the excessive work, okay, by your skeletal system, your muscle involvement, okay, nothing but if you joined in the gym, okay, when you are started to beginning, 1 day, 2 days, our brain, our hands, biceps, gastrocnemius, legs, these and all will be getting lot of pain. In the generally in our houses, when we are celebrating something occasions, festivals, and the time we are doing something work excessive than normal days. So our body will getting something pain, ache, body ache, okay, body pains. What is the reason about that? Here reason explained by the muscle fatigue. See, when we are doing something excessive work, by that excessive work, our skeletal muscles are performing over function. At the time of the functions in our body, lactic acid will form. Sir, something clarity we need, that mean here what we are taken food, that food after digestion it will go into the enter into the tissues. Now that tissue is there, glucose is there, proteins are there, amino acids are there, fats in the form of the storage. So now that glucose want to oxidize it, that only we seen in the respiration time kada nana. Okay, so by the respiration, anaerobic respiration, aerobic respiration theriyum kada nana. So by the anaerobic respiration means lack of sufficient oxygen kada. So lack of sufficient oxygen, glucose molecules are converted into the lactic acid. Adi reason enna sare nana here when you are continuously doing work, okay, with a dumbbell or running something, so on the time you are inhaling the something air, that air containing the oxygen, but our muscles are require the more oxygen. So such amount of the oxygen cannot taking by the person that who are doing excessive work, then lack of oxygen supply, sufficient oxygen supply, that glucose is start to anaerobic reaction, then finally it is accumulating in our body lactic acid. In which place? Skeletal muscles place. Now that skeletal muscle place accumulated lactic acid, it causes the fatigue. That is the reason of our body pains. When our felt body pains of our any organ, any muscle, that is nothing but that particular place is accumulating of the lactic acid. That lactic acid also accumulated by the lack of sufficient oxygen and anaerobic reactions of the glucose. Okay, now that is the reason if you are seeing the body pains related tablets, that is nothing but lactic acid. Okay, lactic acid decreasing tablets. When you are take out these tablets, these any body pain tablet, it reduce the lactic acid quantity in the muscles. Okay, so that's why it is relaxation of this fatigue, and this is the time to give continuation of the fatigue. When the fatigue is causes, the muscle fails to contraction temporarily. Paranganana, when our muscles are getting the fatigue, our muscle cannot do the something movement, so that is a very difficult. Okay, one day you went to gym, you exercised, next day you can't lift the same weight with the hand, your biceps will be getting lot of, so that muscles lose their ability to contract by temporary. Not why temporary means it is a place present in the lactic acid, that lactic acids are not giving the chance to muscle contraction, correct na? So that is a thing, that is about muscle contraction. Now paranganana, rapid activation of the skeletal muscles can lead the accumulation of the lactic acid, okay, in the tissues. Due to the why it is lactic acid is accumulated, due to the anaerobic breakdown of glucose. In the presence of the 10th standard you already studied, in the presence of the oxygen, glucose is converted into the ATP and carbon dioxide will liberate and water molecules, but lack of oxygen, anaerobic reaction, two conditions are there. In the yeast, ethyl alcohol will produce, and then and the absence of the oxygen, lack of sufficient oxygen, glucose is converted to the lactic acid in the muscles. In you see, you studied in 10th standard. That only leads to the fatigue. Okay, by the fatigue, muscles fails the contraction of muscles by temporarily, not permanently. Okay, now what we want to how we can able to overcome this situation? What is the problems we will get in our regular life? Our body can able to do something remedies. Generally, it can able to do. Okay, what is that remedy of the fatigue? Then here one mechanism happens in the liver by to avoiding of this fatigue. Fatigue reason lactic acid accumulation, correct na? Lactic acid accumulation. Now that lactic acid want to reduce their quantity means automatically fatigue will not occur. I mean fatigue efficiency will decrease. For that one in our body liver play an important role. Okay, so here by the partially oxidized by the hypoxia condition, our food partially oxidized by the hypoxia condition, lactic acid will form. Lactic acid will form at tissues. You know that statement. Now by the circulation in the tissues onwards, these lactic acid by the blood circulation, it reach the livers. It reach the liver. In liver these lactic acid is converted into the pyruvate. Lactic acid converted into the pyruvate. Pyruvate onwards the glucose. Basically lactic acid is formed from the glucose only na, glucose only, but first glucose converted into the pyruvic acid converted into the lactic acid. Why pyruvic acid converted to the lactic acid mean lack of oxygen. So these glucose onwards formed lactic acid in the tissues through the blood circulation to reach the liver. In the liver lactic acid again backward directionally it will form to the pyruvic acid or pyruvate, and pyruvate will become change into the glucose. Glucose levels increase ayichanna automatically muscle will get something relaxation because of muscle getting nutrient food. This is the toxic nature, but glucose is a energy resources. You studied that in the digestive system time calorie values of the glucose and protein, amino acids and glycerols, correct? So maximum value energy is liberated by the fat. Proteins are those and all proteins, and then glucose is producing the 4 calories only, whatever it is. Fat is producing the 9 calories. In the textbook something point digits also is there, remember like that. So when the glucose is producing by the lactic acid, such a phenomena we call as a gluconeogenesis. This is a word you heard it when I explain about digestive system and absorption. Digestion and absorption time, liver functions time I said. Liver functions glucogenesis, glycogenesis and gluconeogenesis, glyconeogenesis. These are the 4 things are there. Recall it. Then here in NCERT textbook they doesn't given, but I explained. Here gluconeogenesis mean genesis means generation, neo means other than, other substances, n other substances other than glucose substances onwards. If any glucose is forming, that such a type of mechanism we call as a gluconeogenesis. Okay, here glucose is a carbohydrate, pyruvate it is a acid, these lactic acid also acid. Acid is one group and then carbohydrates are one group. In chemistry you studied different based on the different functional groups, different products are there. Acids, phenols, aldehydes, ketones, okay, C double bond O ketone, like that, okay, whatever it is, recall it, that things. So here glucose is producing from the other than glucose particles. Basically glucose producing from the carbohydrates means glucose is one of the monosaccharides, correct now? You seen, we know in the digestion polysaccharides, these polysaccharides onwards disaccharides, disaccharides onwards monosaccharides will be produced. Here glucose is a monosaccharide but saccharide particle, but these glucose not yet producing from the anything saccharides, just it is producing from the other than glucose particles or saccharide particles, just is producing from the acids. So that's why here from the lactic acids onwards glucose is producing, so that's why this mechanism we called as a gluconeogenesis. Now formed glucose again it will be going to muscles to ready for energy providing. So in the Cori cycle muscles onwards by the hypoxia conditions, partially hydrolyzed oxidized food will produce the lactic acid. That lactic acid through the circulation it will be reach the liver. It conversion into the lactic acid into the glucose. This glucose is again going to the body parts. So body parts and between the liver a exchanging of the lactic acid and then glucose, lactic acid and glucose. Liver on body parts onwards, body tissues onwards, lactic acid sending to the liver onwards, glucose sending to the body parts, muscles. So such a type of cyclic process we call as a KURI cycle. So on the day digestion of absorption in that chapter liver functions time, it is a plain important role in the KURI cycle. On that time I said remember it Nana, in the muscle contraction time I will tell about the KURI cycle. This is about the KURI cycle. One more time Nana, when the muscle excessive work happen time, it produce the lactic acid. That lactic acid leads to the fatigue. For overcoming of that fatigue to getting normal condition, that lactic acid through the circulation it will be come to the liver. In the liver by the gluconeogenesis process, lactic acid converted into the glucose, then glucose will be going to the liver. Okay, this mechanism, this cycle we call as a KURI cycle. Then next, types of muscles. In our body two type of muscles are there. Two type of muscles based on the color. When you are section cutting of our body internal, our body having the two type of muscle. Some of the muscles in the red color, some of the muscles in the white color. Okay, not full white, not like a black normal wall painting white. It is comparing with some muscles. These muscles are something pale color. Okay, nothing but see our heart. If you see, if you recall the heart thing, heart color, heart is something red color, correct now? Okay, and then if you see our normal below the skin muscles, it is a somewhat of pale color, not white color, correct now? Like that. So basing on that, based on the colors, basing on their conditional functions. Okay, because of that red color appearance also causing by the one factor is there. By that factor it can able to show something functions. Now that we want to know. So red color muscles, white color muscles, comparative wise we want to know. Red color muscles are having the oxygen storage pigment, that is a myoglobin. Myoglobin is there. Red color muscles contains the one pigment, that is myoglobin. Now paranga, just recall, our blood also having the one color pigment, that color pigment hemoglobin. By the presence of the hemoglobin only our blood is a red color. Okay, now along with that a particular muscles, that muscles which are the muscles are in red color, those red color muscles are having the myoglobin. Okay, this is the time to recall, our heart contains the myoglobin. Okay, hemoglobin in the presence in the blood, myoglobin in the muscles. By the presence of the myoglobin, heart is become a more red color. What is the significance of these myoglobin mean? Comparison with the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin having the binding efficiency with oxygen, only one molecule binding with 4. But myoglobin more than hemoglobin. Okay, for example wise I am saying, one myoglobin molecule can able to capture the 10 molecules of oxygen. So binding efficiency is more to myoglobin than the hemoglobin. So these type of myoglobin should be present our heart. Why reason I will tell. So based on that here it is a reddish appearance. Okay, the simultaneously these red muscles are contains with a plenty of mitochondria. What is the reason? What is the reason? Here myoglobin having the a more efficiency of binding efficiency with oxygen, and then plenty of mitochondria. Here appearance of the red color reason we know, that is a reason of myoglobin, correct now. So why here red color muscles are containing with plenty of mitochondria? See Nanna, here already I said red muscle is present in the place of the heart kada. Heart want to work continuously without taking rest, even though our body taking rest. So on that time they need more oxygen supply. So that is the reason hemoglobin is efficient to bind the oxygen. Then along with the oxygen, it want to produce the ATP. ATP production is occurs in the mitochondria only now. When any one organ is performing the something work, means it need ATP. That ATPs are liberated from the mitochondria. So mitochondria are create the site for energy production. For energy production wise, oxygen is necessary. So by that oxygen, our food molecules are break down, oxidized, then ATP will be produced. So that is the reason. So heart muscles are having the myoglobin. By the myoglobin, it is a red in color, and then it is a need more energy. So that's why it is contain the plenty of mitochondria. And then it is a major muscle is the anaerobic respiration, aerobic muscles. What is the thing of the meaning of the aerobic? Always they are undergoing the mechanisms under oxygen presence. So here myoglobin having the ability now more oxygen. So that's why these muscles are aerobic muscles, we can say. And then these muscles contraction. These muscle contraction is a slow and rhythmic. Slow and rhythmically it will happens. Okay, like our heart. Our heart contraction and function is very slow and then a rhythmic way. Okay, so our heart should not get fatigue. For example, think it Nana, if our heart getting fatigue, you mean that is the ending point of our life. Now this is the time to recall in the when that heart is arrested, heart attack, heart arresting. So that time also a fraction of seconds heart will function. On that time these myoglobin having the efficient oxygen supply. That is the reason within fraction within up to 5 minutes of that patient, heart arresting patient, still heart is continuously working. So that's why they are pressing the on chest. By that forces, maybe there is a chance to again refunctioning of the heart. So within that 5 minutes, these myoglobin play an important role in the supplying of the oxygen to the red muscles. Okay, so here red muscles never getting any fatigue. If the getting fatigue means that is a problem. Now comparatively white muscles are very less, and then they are very less number of myoglobin. This one quantity nana, sorry, very less quantity of the myoglobin. So that's why it is a appearance just like a pale and whitish color, pale in whitish color appearance, because of a very less that hemoglobin already present in the blood. That is and then here when the myoglobin is not at there is no chance, I mean very less chance to need ATPs. So ATPs are requirement very less, so not necessary of mitochondria presence. So that's why mitochondria's number also very few in number. Along with that here the white muscles are containing the ER means endoplasmic reticulum are very more. I forgot to say here red muscles are very less endoplasmic reticulum is there, and white muscles are having the more endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, remember. Okay, so now this is the time regarding about tells about the ER. Here normal muscles, skeletal muscles are having the ER, correct na? That ER only, ER means endoplasmic reticulum, already I said na. That endoplasmic reticulum we called as a sarcoplasmic reticulum. That sarcoplasmic reticulum onwards only cisternase will produce. That cisternase only calcium ion will be there. That calcium ion only play an important role in the muscle contraction. Correct now? So here there is a chance of anaerobic respiration. Anaerobic respiration. So whether you remember or not, this is the place. Muscle fatigue is a place for anaerobic respiration. By the anaerobic respiration only a lactic acid is produced. So white muscles are nothing but example, skeletal muscle, think it nana. Okay. So here very number of mitochondria are very less, and then these are containing the more endoplasmic reticulum more, and anaerobic respiration will be occurs, and then the muscle contraction is high intensity, very fastly. Okay, just take out one dumbbell, you can able to do very fast that exercise. Okay, push-ups, whatever it is. So that much of very fast intensive contraction will be there. So that is the reason it will show the fatigue will be maybe chance. Okay, so red muscles, white muscles. Red muscles are having the myoglobin, white muscles are very less amount of the myoglobin. So that is a red appearance, this is the pale color appearance, and then plenty of the mitochondria are present, and very less number of endoplasmic reticulum. Here very few number of mitochondria, but more number of endoplasmic reticulum containing the oxygen. Here aerobic respiration, and then here anaerobic respiration. So that's why aerobic muscles, anaerobic muscles. Here red muscle should not show any fatigue, no fatigue. The movement of the red muscles very slow and rhythmic, and white muscles movement it is a high intensity of contraction. So that's why it can able to show the fatigue. Now a topic over, Nana. This is a time to say one example to you. When you are sat in the classrooms, especially this happens to students in this way, Nana. You are listening your classes, suddenly your leg index finger is going above the thumb finger. Index finger going above the thumb finger, it is create the severe pain. Okay, even though you are trying to concentrate the listening class, but you are trying to take out that your thumb finger of leg to normal condition, but you can't take it back. Okay, but after within 5 minutes, within fraction of 5 minutes, again thumb finger will be going to back by uncontrolled, you're not at the involvement of yours. So sometimes in our body, organs, especially muscle parts, will be contracted. So that type of muscle contraction we call it tetany, muscle fatigue of the temporary muscle contraction, skeletal muscles contraction, give it to the severe pain. Such a type of contractions we call the tetany. Okay, some of the concept we will discuss in the NEET topic. This is about locomotion movement chapter. In that chapter only muscle, because of locomotion and movement performed by the muscles and skeletal system also need. Introduction time I said na, without skeletal system, bones, muscles alone can't able to perform the movement. Only muscles without bones, muscles also can't able to show movement. So here assembling of the two integrated systems, muscle and skeletal system, our body will be showing the functions, movement functions. That is the reason. So let me wait skeletal system, how it play an important role in the movement. Okay.